It's 6 o'clock now.
All right. Open and roll call. Do I have an approval of the agenda?
I'll approve the agenda.
I'll second.
I don't have a chance to do it.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Do I have a second?
I second.
One second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Public hearing amendment of the 2012 budget. Any questions? Any concerns?
It's just for the street repair, right?
The street repair that we did not put into the budget for this year, and then our lightning strike at the well pump created that $12,000 expense in the water department, and rather than wait till the end of the year to see if we need an amendment, as long as we were amending anyway, it needed to be included.
Okay.
So that's what your two amendments are. Just for your information, we did get a check from ICAP for our lightning damage in the amount of $9,800, so it wasn't a total expense for the city, but as far as the budget and the amendment goes, it's a total expense for the city.
So what was out of pocket for the city on that?
9,800.
About
Oh,
2,200, roughly, Justin, that's not an exact number, but
Okay.
what they found when they did the repair was some bad piping down below that had to be replaced, and it had nothing to do with lightning, and so it was taken care of while they did it.
Is it normal practice to take like the street repair stuff out of local option, or is there anything left in like the road use tax fund or anything like that?
Yes and yes, but when we approved the street repair, you decided at that point to take it out of the local option. That's why it's done this way. There is funds, if you look at your treasurer's report, there are some funds in the road use tax fund, but there were actually more funds, and they were completely undesignated in the local option sales tax, and I think that was the reason why we chose that at the time we approved that expense.
You have somewhere where this is further broken down? Some of these expended, like I'm looking at the $850 for health and social services, and then the $65,000 for culture and recreation.
Yes, in the original budget, yes.
Where is that? That's from the, where can that be located, physically located?
In your financial report, all those budget numbers are on your financial report.
Okay.
That's the 15 or whatever number of pages that one is. That's where your breakdown is.
is that the 2011 or the 2010?
2011. Actually, 2012 is the year we're in, so we're looking at 2012.
And that, John?
I'm not seeing that yet.
Okay.
Jerry's got it, or Larry's got it right there in front of him.
It's
all those pages that look like that. There's a whole, you got a whole system.
No, I don't have a whole set of them, do I?
It would have been on
Oh,
the
maybe you didn't
computer.
print.
Oh, the email part.
Oh, no,
I
you
didn't
them
print
all.
all of
I
them.
got
That's,
everything printed off.
Look at those.
that's where you look for those budget numbers and the breakdowns, and those are all decided as we go through the budget when we work on that in January and February.
But that would have all been emailed.
Yes, I know it's available.
Okay.
Right.
I have nothing further on the budget amendment, if you want to close the public hearing unless someone else does.
John, any more questions?
No.
Okay. Then I close the public hearing. First item on the action items are the RV ordinance. I have visited with the issue with the camper, and everything is in order. The camper will be moved onto their property. It will no longer be on any of the city property, so there is no worries and nothing to offend the neighbors anymore, so everything is kosher. A tree will be taken out to make sure that they back in on their property. So the only access will be on our right-of-way to back it into their property. So
We have to take down a tree or
they're taking down the tree and they're backing it into their property. So the camper will be on their property, the truck will be on their property, nothing will be on the sidewalk, and the only thing will be their access using the right-of-way. So it's no different than anyone else. So that has been taken care of. Next item on the agenda is consider and approve the fire department concrete work. Everyone understands what the fire department wants to do. And no one has any disapproval of that. Okay, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Energy efficiency, Nancy said she doesn't have anything on the rate study.
Nope, we didn't get that done. In your packet is a horizontal spreadsheet that looks like this. That is the information for us to begin to compare street lighting replacements. And I know you're going to ask me questions that I don't have the answer for, but I'll do the best I can here. The first line says 400 W HPS to 150. That is 400 watt high pressure sodium, and changing that to 150 watt high pressure sodium. And then it'll list for you hours per year and estimated cost to replace that unit. Okay? They put some money in here for labor, but I want you to just kind of use that as a placeholder because I don't think that we're going to get it done for that labor because of this grant, and we have to pay what they call Davis-Bacon wages. And so we'll have to get, does everybody understand what Davis-Bacon wages are? Davis-Bacon is a federal law that says if cities, counties, governments pay contractors or people to perform services for these agencies, that they have to pay what is called prevailing wage. And the law was a Davis-Bacon law. And we would probably get Paul Reiling, our normal electrician, to come in and do this, and we may have to pay him more than what he would normally charge us because of the federal grant status. But I haven't had an opportunity to visit with the Office of Energy Independence about this, or the Davis-Bacon, what that they would consider that prevailing wage to be. So for the purpose of this discussion, we're going to talk about the replacement cost based on the estimated costs of the equipment and a placeholder for the labor. And you'll see that they have estimated a cost of $46.50 to reduce those, and that's the few that Jerry's done. That's pretty close to what we're spending to get that done, the few that he has done. The second line is 400 watt high pressure sodium to LED lights. Same amount of hours per year, but you'll see that the unit cost for the equipment is $500. Takes about the same labor to replace it, but the total cost is $46.50 versus $520. Then when it comes to annual savings, or the number of kilowatts we're going to save, the high pressure sodium, the estimated savings is $1,213 over the course of a year. The high pressure sodium is $1,564. So about 250 kilowatts of electricity. And then it goes on and gives you the estimated cost of savings. On the second line, clear to the right, it says 24K hour avoided cost. That is 24,000 hours in that one particular bulb. Over the life of that bulb, we'll avoid spending $262 for the high pressure sodium versus another $65 or $338.44 for the LED. And then the final line there is if that bulb were to last 50,000 hours, this is your avoided cost. 547 versus 705.
Avoiding costs is savings, translates to savings, sort of, kind of.
Yeah, and they look at it, they don't want to tell you savings because rates change, so they don't want to quote savings in actual dollars, but they're more comfortable quoting avoided costs in actual dollars.
Right.
I- yeah.
And this is to replace what? Is it to replace lights in city-owned property, or?
We have a grant to do energy efficiency through the federal, just
Energy office.
yeah, it's administered through the state, but one of the things that we identified when we did the whole town audit grant was that the way that we could save people money and all the people in our community was the expense of our streetlights. And so that's what we're really looking at is, can we really save money by changing out our streetlights? Can we live with a potential loss of lighting value, and at what cost do we feel that trade-off occurs? We do have $7,500 in grant money that we do have to use somehow.
This is focused on the streetlights.
This is focused on the streetlights only, because that was one of our identified ways that we could save. And for those that are unfamiliar, our streetlights are city-owned streetlights, and so our electric utility has a profit line, and it includes paying for all those streetlights. Whether you've got one on your corner or not, all the citizens in town are paying for those streetlights. And so one way we would hope to be able to accomplish some savings would be in this way. Should we, I'm not making a recommendation on that, but I'm laying out the information so you can make a decision. And I don't think I want you to make a decision tonight. I just want you to give me a direction so I can go to the OEI people, because we have to have their permission to approach this further. But until I have a direction from you folks, I can't do that. There will be, I think, a way to purchase the LED lights through a joint purchase with other municipal electrics through the IAMU. But they're still in the building stages of that proposal as well. So we'll get eventually I think we'll be able to get some more technical detail on the lights themselves, and then a potential joint purchase to try to save us some money. But for the purpose of making the apples to oranges comparison to see which direction you want to go, this is the best that we can come up with for you to do that.
What's the deadline by which you have to spend the $7,500?
April.
April 2012.
Yeah. So we don't have a lot of time to go through all these
No.
steps, but we do have some time.
And I want to understand the grant. Is it a federal grant?
Yes.
That's state legislated or
No, it's a federal
monetary?
grant. It's the American stimulus. It's a stimulus grant.
So
okay?
we deal
That-
directly with feds on
No,
this?
it's administered through the state
That was what I was asking. Yeah.
Office
Okay.
of Energy Independence, which is now under the heading of the Iowa IPEP, Iowa Partners for whatever. I can't
It's
remember
the
that.
new economic development.
Yeah. Whatever was the Iowa Economic Development is now a different name, and that's been a big part of our
Partnership
struggle
for
was
economic progress.
all that changeover as we went through the process. All the changeover at the state level has really delayed us getting to this process, and so
Do you know what the total number of street lamps that are affected by the 400-watt high-pressure sodiums are? How many?
approximately, I want to say between 55 and 60. We have 78, but some of them are the metal halide because they're the new ones, and some have already been changed from the 400s to the 150s, and I'll bet you can't drive around town and tell which ones they are. So, but an exact count is somewhere between 50 and 60, Justin.
Okay.
Do we have a choice to go either between the LEDs or the 150 watt?
I think we do.
Okay.
Until we can clear a specific plan with the state people, I can't answer that for sure.
Well, unless I'm reading this wrong, it looks like if we go with the LEDs, we're going to spend roughly $475 as opposed to, I mean, we're going to
Spend that much more.
Much more, $475 per unit,
Right.
And we're gonna save about $70
Yeah,
in a 3-year period.
yeah. Yeah. That's, bottom line, that's pretty much it.
Okay.
So the total, and this is just rough, is like 27,500, and then you minus the 7,500 from that you put
Well,
grant?
I
So is it
don't
really
think
costing
so.
like 20,000?
No, I don't think so, John. I think what you would want to do is spend your grant money. And we do need to match that with some, but do we have to replace everyone in town? No. That's another decision for when we get down to exactly what it is we're gonna do and how much money we're gonna spend doing it.
How much is the grant money?
7,500.
You can pick and choose which lights you replace,
Yes.
you know, all right.
Is it a one-time grant only, or is there a chance the money?
Yes, and I can't wait till it's over. If we won't do a
$7,500.
federal grant again, because you guys have spent all of that in my time in reporting. This has not been the wonderful thing that I was hoping it was going to be. I'll be real honest with you, but
Nancy, is that match money any in kind or is it all cash? What's the city got to come up with?
we can use some in kind, but it would be like my labor, Jerry's labor, yeah, those things. I
For
tracked
total.
all of that stuff.
What's the breakdown, what's the percentage on the donor?
Do you want my file?
I just thought you might have.
No, I can't, that one's not on the top of my head, I'm sorry.
But we have to spend at least $7,500.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And we did pay for light bulbs, the CFLs came out of that grant. We really have spent about $900 already of that grant money, but
So if we matched it and we had 15,000, then we would just be able to do about a little bit more than half.
depends on which lights you choose.
Yes.
If you want to, we can probably get most of them done if we do the high pressure sodiums because it doesn't require nearly as much work.
I'd give you a little bit quicker thinking about it. We only got about 25 lights, we're gonna change it up to go down to 150. If we're doing this about 400, we go down to 150 or 250, where we're gonna get about 25 lights in the
Could
Well,
you
then we
say
can't
those
even-
numbers again, Jerry, please?
We got about 25 more lights to change out from the 400s.
Okay.
So that would be a big savings there, with there only being 25 lights.
It looks like you would spend 14,500 if you did all those lights with LEDs then. So you pretty much use your grant with your match.
And you said you didn't need a decision on that tonight?
I don't need a decision, I want to
one.
know how the council feels about whether you want me to pursue the LED replacements, or if you would rather pursue the reduction in the bulb size with the high pressure sodium. Or I can, work both of them out with OEI and see where it goes. But it's usually easier to talk to these people in more real terms as this is what we want to do and get their buy-in.
So what does the council think?
As far as cost effectiveness, I think going to the 150 watt high pressure sodiums would be a lot better because installing LEDs, you gotta put in special transformer packs and all that stuff. Our labor bills, basically, I would say, gonna double alone going LED versus high pressure sodium. The high pressure sodium, you don't have to do anything but unscrew the bulb and screw a new one in. I
Once
mean,
you
it's-
go LED, is there any maintenance to them?
Technically, they have a longer lifespan. High pressure sodium, from my experience, probably doesn't last a whole lot longer than a general fluorescent bulb. But LEDs, I mean, they last a long time. We've been putting some in down at work, and you know, we're guaranteed at least a minimum of 10,000 running hours for sure off of them. Where a lot of high pressure sodium stuff, when they go out, they go out. I mean, you have no guarantees with them. But
Jerry, how often do we change a light bulb?
That's what I was just gonna say. How often do we do it now?
There's so many lights, I don't know, keep track of it, you know, just.
Does it run in streaks or
How many do we do a year? Do you have any idea?
What's that?
How
a
many,
year?
approximately, how many do we do a year?
Kind of depends, you know, if you get heavy winds, you know, then everything east
Beat 'em around.
What's the rating for the bulb now that you have it? What are they generally rated at? How many hours?
Oh, Jerry, how many hours? Jane asked how many hours.
Are the
You know,
current
I don't
bulbs?
write it down and figure out how many hours the lights are on.
No, how many hours are they rated
Rated.
for? Are they supposed to last?
It's supposed to last 10,000
10,000.
hours or, you know,
A
something.
little over a year.
Yeah.
So in your guesstimation, they do last at least a year?
Yeah, I mean, I've got one pole I've never changed yet in 14 years.
Okay.
See if you can duplicate
here
that
you go,
one.
change it tomorrow.
Now that you said that.
And then, you might
Must be
have
some
one place
geothermal going
every
on.
6 months, you know, it might.
It depends
and then it
on
goes-
where it's at.
Yeah, it kind of, I still think a lot of it does with weather. You know, if the wind's kind of beating it around a little bit or something like that. But there's one light pole I've never been to yet in 14 years.
So what is your recommendation on this, Jerry? What do you think we should do?
I don't know that, I think we'd go to 150. I mean, Justin actually said it, you know, in a sense, you know, pricing that stuff is just unreal. I mean, a lot of lights, actually, I should take that, you know, a lot of lights, some of those lights go 2 years or better. But like I said, it just kind of depends where the wind kind of hits things that, you know, they take a little bit more. But in normal, it's been pretty good.
The other thing that has a lot of effect on high pressure sodiums is how much they warm up. I mean, a high pressure sodium, if it gets so hot, it shuts itself off. Where LED, you'll never have that either.
Well, I've had a lot of trouble with that. Them shutting off. Right?
Where at now?
Well, I'm not saying now, I'm saying we have had a lot of trouble with that.
That's when the bulb, that's when you know it's the bulb.
That's the cycling part of it.
Yeah.
So your recommendation would be go with the 150?
Like I said, Justin kind of put it, he said that, and I kind of agree with it. But
Okay.
that's my opinion, but what you guys want to do is,
Yeah. And Justin's been an electrician for a while, so.
Is the construction of the LED any more weatherproof? Jerry's point.
It's not as, say you got high winds, it doesn't receive the vibration that like a high pressure sodium will. It'll absorb that better versus the high pressure sodium, there's still a filament in there that vibrates, and it has basically a smaller gas tube built inside a larger bulb, and with the filament it can vibrate and I'm sure shorten up the lifespan, where LED doesn't have those things. But cost wise, you could probably, I mean, looking here, you can replace it 5 times to what,
Yeah.
you know, you're.
plus the price of the bulb.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You're anywhere from 25 to 80 bucks for the LEDs.
For the LEDs? And
That's what these ones on Main Street are.
the 150 watt high pressure, or
Well, just between the high pressure sodiums on Main Street from these really decorative poles to the taller poles, there's roughly a $40 difference between the bulbs. The ones down here are much higher in cost. And for some reason, by the design of the light, we cannot put these bulbs in those. kind of a pain in the butt when it comes to that, but.
Okay, so do we want Nancy to pursue the HPS bulbs, or do we want her to go with LED?
I would say try and knock down a little harder price on the high-pressure sodiums. See what the Davis-Bacon costs and things are gonna be, and see what it's gonna cost per unit. A little bit more hard dollars.
Okay, everyone agree with that?
Yep.
Okay, there's your direction.
Thank you.
Review the IUB energy efficient report, and there was nothing. You have that.
Yeah, that was in your email as well. It was a bunch of pages with a whole bunch of numbers that I'm sure were very difficult for you to really put your head around. And I guess I didn't print a copy for myself. But basically what it is 2 years ago, the council had to establish energy efficiency goals. And then we had to implement programs to help us meet those goals. Basically, after the IEMU did the calculation for us, we're at 140% of that goal. So we've done very well in the first 2 years. I gave them direction, I hope you agree with, that we would leave our goals exactly as they are now going into 2013. This is a report that has to be filed every 2 years, and it's just basically for your information. But I wanted to tell you that all the pain we've been through on this energy efficiency, we are getting those goals met.
Good.
If there's any questions, you can ask me, but I probably can't answer. And I did not do this report. Iowa Association of Municipal Utilities gathered that information for us, so, I mean, I supplied it, but they put it together. And this is a requirement of the Iowa Utilities Board and a requirement of WAPA that we supply this report to them every 2 years, so, okay.
And generally, Nancy, what are those goals, or what, I read the letter and I wasn't quite sure.
Can I get that for you after the
Sure,
meeting?
sure.
Why don't you stop
That
and
that
look?
was this page there. That
No,
had the
not
water.
that one, no. I'll stop after the meeting or tomorrow and I'll work through that
I
with
just
you.
like to understand what
Yeah.
the targets are.
No, that's great.
Okay, next item on the agenda is to schedule the City League meeting for Auburn as being host at Vans Cafe. Do we want Wednesday or Thursday evening for January?
Thursday.
That meeting would be the 12th then. The 12th is the Thursday. And it is, as Linda said, it is Van's turn to host it this year, so.
January 12th.
And he would like recommendations as to what you would like.
Oh yeah, what do you want to feed him? Macaroni and cheese, tuna noodles.
So if you have something, place your recommendations to him or give me a call and I'll let him know. And we need a speaker for that event.
Yes, anybody got any good ideas?
I suppose legislation will be in session.
Yeah, they all gavel in the day before, or 2 days before, so it's really hard to get anybody. I don't know if we should try to see if we could get any presidential
Just
candidates
say
in
Newt
town.
Gingrich might come around.
What about a county supervisor?
They're invited to the meetings, they're a part of this meeting, so, yeah, they don't want it. I know they don't want to do this. We usually, in
See if
past
Butcher's
years,
in town.
yeah, we've gotten someone from Congressman King's office, we've had, what else have we done? Done a couple of other. We had Kettering
We
and
had that other guy.
Rod
Wortham
Roberts.
here
Yeah.
1 year.
Rod Roberts was the
And
last
Rod
one.
Roberts was here when he was running for governor. It was 2 years ago, we
Was that 2
invited
years ago?
all the candidates for governor to come.
Invite Laura then.
Yeah.
Well, they gavel in 2 days before. That's why that's a secondary choice. They're all in session in Des Moines. Usually, once in a while, this meeting will be a few days before that and we can get them.
Is there anyone from the Iowa City Leagues that we could
Maybe,
tap on,
I could try that.
get their insight on what the future holds for cities? In a positive note?
Okay.
Okay, next item on the agenda is to approve the holiday lighting contest. Do we want to do that for Auburn again this year? Motion?
Wait,
Sorry.
can I add one little thing to that? I think this year we should make a category for an all LED display.
Good idea.
I don't know how we go about determining that, but could we pick like first and second and then an all LED first place? Or, I don't care. I just think,
prove that it's all LED.
well, maybe I'll make them, I don't know. I haven't thought about it, but when we're encouraging energy efficiency and so many people, what I've learned is 2 years ago when we had the ice storm, everybody still had their lights out and they all got really damaged, and so a lot of them have been replaced. And as they're replacing them with LEDs. And so as far as trying to encourage our energy efficiency, I'd like to help encourage the LED replacement light.
So when they submit their request to be considered for the contest, they would have to prove to us that they had LED lights.
Yeah, I'll probably have to come up with some kind of rules or something, or some kind of verification, or, I don't know. Is that a bad idea? Is that a good idea?
Well, it kind of goes with our energy efficiency.
Yeah.
So no, it's not a bad idea.
So maybe we just have a winner overall, and we have an LED display winner and give them the same prize. Our prize total has been $250, and we can just divide it into two prizes and give them each $100 or something.
Then you're not gonna have a second.
Yeah, we'd have, and maybe it won't work, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
So just do first and second,
On
and
the
first
overall.
for LED.
Yeah, or give a extra prize for the highest percentage, give an extra prize, maybe an extra 25 for the highest percentage of LED. There's lots of ways we can do it, I didn't want to tell you how we were going to do it.
I'd say keep it first and second, and then give them a boost if first or second can prove that they're all LED. Give-
Okay, like an extra 25 if they're all LED.
Even if they're 75% LED.
Didn't
Right,
realize
right,
Okay.
majority.
To get started,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is.
Okay.
It is.
So our
Didn't we
prizes,
always do first, second, and third though?
yeah, we've always done 100, 75, and 50.
Okay.
It's 225. So we could do, you tell me.
I'd say 175 and 50, and then the $25 bonus for first place if it's,
Okay,
If it's
all right.
LED.
yeah, if it's LED. And make that just for the first place versus.
100%?
What's that? I would say the.
Whoever has the most LED out of the three would get 50%. I mean, $25 more. Is that what you
I
mean?
guess that could
Yeah,
work too.
that's pretty workable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that'll be easy to ask them that question. Okay. Everybody okay with that?
So we're going to ask them how many they used as opposed to us checking it? So it's an honor system.
Well, the judges would check that. I mean, the judges would have an idea,
Okay.
and then
Yeah, I
of
would
course
say
we'd
they
have
would
to
have to-
take the
The
homeowners.
homeowner would have to kind of prove it.
Okay. That's a little different than what I heard the first time, so, yeah. Not that I don't trust people.
You're a realist.
Okay, next item on the agenda is to promote the sale of the old dump truck. Jerry, you want to keep the one in reserve, is that correct?
Just through this winter and make sure what I got doesn't break down. At least I got something that next spring, if everything's fine, get rid of the red one.
And then Big Iron is your choice for the sale? You don't have any preference?
You're talking about the old green Chevy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It seems like Big Iron is fairly advertised a lot for the sale of big, heavy equipment, so to me, it's a good choice.
Well,
So get rid of the green one now and then.
The red in the
and this-
spring?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it, you know, it's not a high-value truck. This might be a great way to try out selling something online for the first experience that we've had. When it doesn't, well, it sort of runs and it sometimes has brakes. It's got a lot of as-is to try to advertise it through the Tri-County like we would in a normal way and get full value. I think this is a way to get full value. And they said this, I mean, if you read the literature I gave you, they do the research, they take the pictures, it's sold as is, and the buyer comes and picks it up. We have no responsibility for it whatsoever, so.
Weren't you the mayor when we bought that thing? That was another lifetime ago, wasn't
That was
it?
1,000 years ago.
Well, maybe you two have some emotional attachment.
Yeah.
You can, I'll show you how to sign up to bid on it online.
No, but we might like to drive around the block one more time.
Better have good insurance because it doesn't have any brakes.
Jerry, what's the estimated value? What do you think something like that will bring?
No idea. I have no idea.
It's really old.
That's it.
60-something?
They moved those
62 or
detachments.
64.
Yeah, I figured it was in the 60s.
It had 1 billion miles on it when we bought it.
How old's the red truck, in the 80s or 70s?
The red one,
Yeah,
82 or 4.
yeah.
Oh, that's old. Well, that's when it's really old. I mean, the
Yeah.
green is really old.
Okay, do we have the approval then to go with Big Iron for this first truck?
Do you need a motion?
Yes.
Also.
Second? All in favor? Just. All in
Aye.
favor? Motion carried. We need approval for the resolution for the fund transfer of the street repairs.
Can I ask, on that online sale, what's the commission on that? What do you have to pay them?
That should have been in your information that I sent you. It's between 7 and 11% depending on the item and their, I think, kind of appraised value.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
Yes, Jane, I no disrespect or anything, but could you keep those questions for tomorrow to contact her to find out this information?
I apologize.
No problem, we just want to keep the meeting rolling, okay? All right, do I have an approval of the resolution for the fund transfer for the street repairs?
I'll make a motion we approve resolution 1112.
All in favor? Motion carried. Approve resolution 1113 on approving the tax assessments. Do I have a motion?
It's on the past due electrical.
Yes. We have two of them.
And efforts and collective then.
Yeah, how are the other ones going?
Good.
Good?
Yeah, the one we worried about did just exactly what he said he promised that us he would do.
Good.
The others are making strides. I will tell you that the first one in this resolution asked us to turn the services on last winter, and I send them 4 or 5 communications every month. Every time I send them a bill, they got to know what it's for. And suddenly in August said, well, that we don't, since May, don't think we should have to pay for that. I'm going, yeah, you are. So we're just going to assess it to the taxes. I'm going to quit fighting with them.
Yeah.
Someday they'll sell that property.
The second one, I thought they always made payments.
They did, and they were current, and she moved out of town and refuses to make payment on the final bill.
So no one's living at the property?
No.
She's
And
been
it
over there
is-
though.
Well, it's
they,
off.
They go in once in a while and pull something out, but that's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, it's off, and I've contacted her and don't get anywhere, so it's another one. We just will get in line behind a bunch of others, because I'm sure there's a lot more of them in line on that property.
Because it's a pretty steep bill.
I'll make the motion to approve resolution 1113.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Alright.
Motion carried. Next item is to approve Resolution 1114, accepting petition and scheduling a special election.
I have a question on this one. We have down there an estimated $1,500. And I understand that, I was going back to what you had originally quoted, Nancy, you last month said that special elections were around $1,000. Is there a range here?
I
Is there-
don't know exactly what this election we
No,
had last
no, I
week cost
understand that,
until
so-
I,
So could we list that as a range? Because it could be somewhere, as I understand it, between $1,000 and $1,500.
sure, I don't care, I don't understand why it matters, but okay.
It's all in the number of voters that come up and vote.
I mean,
I understand.
well, it doesn't even have so much to do with that. It's printing ballots and hiring the people to run the polls and
I just think
mileage
this
back
is a
and
little
forth.
misleading because it quotes the top end. You know, the
Well,
highest
if I'm gonna
possible
get you to
cost.
approve an expense, I'm gonna get you to approve the top end, because
That's
when it
fine.
comes to later,
You all can disagree with me
Then we have to
on
go
that,
back.
I'm just saying that I'd like to see it listed as a range.
I make a motion that we accept the petition or the resolution as written.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Justin? I'm sorry, I'm not. Where are you going with the head shake there?
Well, I'm thinking a moment here.
Okay?
I just kind of jumped into emotion, so. If it's,
it in no way approves writing the check to pay for it. It just gives an estimate and throws a
Just-
number out there.
It's just for public education.
I'll vote aye.
Okay. Motion carried. Approve resolution 1115 on the budget amendment.
And I apologize for the printing of these to get one in front of the other and behind. That it got a little, it's on the back of 1113. When I sent them through the printer, I don't know how I did that exactly, but.
Do I have a motion?
I move.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Continuing review of community improvement plan.
That's on the back of the page that has the budget timeline. We can kind of do both of these kind of at the same time. For those in the audience that don't know what our community improvement plan is, we've for many years sat down prior to budget time and looked at city facilities and started talking about what we felt our needs were into the future, and began to just have conversations about maybe what our priorities are. We're not setting any priorities tonight. That happens when we get into doing the actual budget. We're just basically doing 5 minutes worth of brainstorming. If you've driven around town to look at different items or different things that you think need some improvement, that's what the council's doing at this point.
Well, I would be interested in seeing some interior work done on the Historical Society area. The floor needs replacing. You can smell things coming up through the drain. The ceiling is coming in on it. And especially now that we have a city that people drive through and take some pride in, I think we're going to have people stop and make use of the museum. And I would like to see some consideration given to refurbishing that area, to bring it up to standard with everything else.
Jerry, were the drains ever cleaned out over there?
Yeah, figured out, man, it's just, we don't have water going down the drain.
Well, I know that it's got, but it probably needs plugs put in the drain lines. If there's no water in there, it's gonna get sewer gas coming back. So if they were cleaned out and pumped out, they probably need plugs put in.
It's my understanding that they have the sewer gas. I haven't been in it for a couple months, but I hear that.
I'm sure that's what it is. It just needs either a plug in it or fill them back up with water so that the,
And Nancy, what about a faucet to the outside? Would that be possible instead of having to go into there and get water? Could that be moved to outside faucet somewhere?
My name's Jerry, you said Nancy.
Oh, sorry.
We're
just adding
Nancy talked to Jerry, sorry.
We're just adding to the list. They don't even
No.
have to be possible.
No, but that way you wouldn't have to go inside the historical to get water, to run the hose.
So we originally talked about that.
Yeah.
Not an outside faucet.
So we should put that on, as a possibility. Sorry, Jerry.
All that stuff to be done.
And I have no idea what that would cost, Nancy. I would like to see some things being done there gradually along the way to bring it up to snuff so it looks like everything else around town.
I'll put it on the list.
Very good, thank you.
but the sewer gas thing needs to be fixed right away.
Yeah.
They both got water in them. I don't know why they're.
Well, they need, probably are,
Well, it's probably stagnant.
well, it's probably hasn't been used for a long time, and
I
they're
know
probably
one gets a little water
evaporated.
because I use it when I water flowers, but
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't been in there either.
Maybe you could get the
If
big
we
guy,
plug it, why don't we just fill them in?
well, that's fine, I don't care how you do it.
Like I said, if we're to plug them, just fill them in there.
They make a screw-in plug that expands and just shuts it off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If I knew what size they were, I could get you a couple.
I don't know what size they are either.
Probably that issue's probably not a huge expense to accomplish.
The quick fix is just fill them up with water. That'll stop the sewer gas.
Well, I can add the lighting in there is a little inadequate too. It's pretty dismal. I mean, it's a garage.
Probably for the purpose of this plan, I'm going to put interior work in the historical building and then council in the future councils as they work through what they're actually going to do and determine what the priorities are.
Are there any other items that you want on, or future references for improvement?
And we're going to talk about it again next month, so.
Yep.
We talked about the gazebo, right? The one over there, didn't Jerry mention that needed work over there
Yeah,
across the street?
yeah.
That's another one.
That's on here.
Oh, okay.
Repair support.
Okay.
Yeah.
You think that's enough? I mean, I had a second look at that. It looks pretty dismal. That larger gazebo across the road here. Am I reading this right? $150 to $200 to work on that?
No,
No,
that's
that's
painting the
small.
small
No.
one down.
There's
That's a
no-
small, oh, that's
Yeah.
okay.
There's no
There's
dollar
no
on
dollar.
Hey, I didn't say anything.
No.
Well, and I was pretty sure when I wrote it down, I didn't put anything
Okay,
here. 'cause-
I read it wrong, sorry.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
fine.
that's for the small gazebo.
Okay, if there's nothing else, we'll move on to approve the budget timeline.
This
Which is
is
always
a
fun.
schedule of dates, and for some of you, it doesn't pertain, but for some of you it does. Our first council work session is scheduled for January 9th. That would be our regular city council meeting, and it's been our habit to schedule a second budget-only work session 2 weeks later on the Monday night, which is the 23rd. And then I just put the rest of these things in here just so you're aware of the process that I need to go through. Our final adoption of the budget would be March 12th then, because it has to be certified to the county by the 15th. So we have had years where we've moved that March meeting because of the closeness and the fear of the weather to that certification date, but I don't think that's necessary this year, so.
Just so that everybody knows, I believe, if I remember this correctly, January 11th, we're gonna have the Chiefs feed down there that a couple representatives normally attended to talk with us trustees.
Thank you, Justin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Second Wednesday, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh, it's a good thing we moved the county league meeting to Thursday then.
Yeah, it is.
Not anything about that then? No. It'll be a busy week.
Now, these council work sessions are not considered meetings.
Technically, they are meetings.
Okay.
However, we try to be way informal and we just talk about things. We talk about what our priorities are. We talk about the funding for the library and the historical committee and the fire department and all of those issues. We've historically had each of those organizations come to the council meeting, the first meeting of the month in January, and give a report of what they've done for the last year, and then visit with council about what they feel their needs are for the upcoming budget year. And then we have a work session, John, where we just sit down and work it out.
Okay.
Talk about it. When we're all done at the end of the night, the budget's not final, but it's pretty close. At least council has given enough direction that we can finish it up for discussion at the February meeting then.
Okay.
So if nobody has any objections to these dates, I'm going to write down that you gave unanimous approval to the timeline.
Is that work session a public meeting? It's open to
It's a public meeting. It is open to the public. Yes, it is.
Thank you.
But I don't normally, it's open to the public. I post an agenda. There aren't necessarily minutes beyond council discussed the budget.
And what date did you set for that?
January 23rd.
Oh.
And all of we're getting long-winded here, but I do worksheets that you guys will get a copy of as the council, and then each of our departments will get a specific worksheet for their department that shows their past year expenses, the current year-to-date expenses, the current budget, and then a place for them to give us some direction for their proposed budget so that we all have something to work from as we go along with this. And I try to deliver those to the departments by the 1st of December so that they have a month to start working on their proposals to the council.
I have another question, if I may. Is that an itemized expense list for each one of the bureaus or whatever you call it, departments?
Itemized in what way?
Per item as far as the expenses, or per category as far as the expenses?
No, if for instance, if we were talking about the library, there would be a line item for wages and one for books and magazines and all that they're different. Now, we usually let those departments determine where they spend that money within that budget, but we give them that breakdown to work off of. And I kind of help make them a worksheet so they can work with those items as well as council work with it. Is that?
Yes, that answers my question.
If we have,
I'll take a
more,
look at it.
we'll talk about it.
Very good.
First 3 months are very busy for the council because of all the meetings that we need to hold, even though it's the last half of the council budget year. Next item on the agenda is utility financial review.
Again, this is another one of those things that hits the new council in January, is the financial health of our utility departments. I was very much hoping to get our rate study because on the electrical rates, because the preliminary findings of the rate study are, I think, very favorable to our residents, but I can't share details with you. So the purpose of these worksheets in front of you are just to look at, and we're not going any farther tonight than to look at and say, here's what our expenses are, here's what our revenues are, and here is the profitability level today of these utilities. That's as far as we're going tonight, unless somebody has more questions, I can try to answer them, but I think that it is a good idea if we start with 2010. Total revenues for calendar year 2010, and that's another difficulty for council, is to look at this in two different ways, because the reports that I supply to you are fiscal year. And so, but for the purpose of all of our reporting to the Iowa Utilities Board, it's all calendar year. So I look at these calendar year, it's easier to give you historical information calendar year due to that. And you can look at the 2000 calendar year revenue less expenses, but 2010 calendar year had our ice storm in it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So,
The dollars.
right, right. Water utility calendar year 2010, we came out 2010 calendar year $8,700 ahead. And we are on track to do the same thing for calendar year 2011. Thank heavens for an insurance claim on our well pump, or this would look way different. And when that happened, I talked to you about being so far in the hole and the fact that we were probably going to have to raise rates unless I'm thinking that looks less likely than it did back in July. Calendar year 2010 sewer revenue. And some of this is a difference in the way that we're looking at this, because 2010, we had to use the sewer sinking fund and all of that good stuff because of the audit, the changes that they made. So the expenses looked much higher in the sewer for the first part of the calendar year, or the last part, I should say. And this year, we're not taking that same fund transfer and putting that into our expenses. But our sewer revenue is just looking like it's tracking about the same as it has. So, does that make any sense to anybody, or did I just say that crazy? Garbage revenue in 2010, we made $810 after a whole year's worth of work. This year, we're tracking to be losing $903 at this point. So, and I will also tell you that our garbage contract is up for renewal right after the first of the year. So, and I would expect an increase from him as well. So I think that our garbage and recycling rate has got to be on our radar for an increase after the first of the year. Any other questions? Otherwise, I just wanted you to look at this and give it a once over, put it in your brain. You can look at this as well as I can and see what it really says, but.
May I ask a question pertinent to this topic?
Yes, Jane?
Thank you. The garbage contract, do you put that out on RFP? Do you request a quotes, anything like that?
That's up to the council. Again, this is no, we need to have this, we'll discuss it, I'll fill you in.
I just quickly, it's possible that
It's possible, but it's not probable.
okay.
We probably need to relook at our bags.
The cost-wise?
Yeah, we could do that. I think we need to take a closer look at our base rate. Because what happens, we set the base rate at basically to cover the cost of our contract to pick up the garbage and our contract to deliver it to the landfill.
And has landfill gone up again?
Yes.
Okay.
It's been going up 5 to 10% every year, and we've been at this rate now for at least 3 years. So I think we need to look at an increase in the base
So
rate.
you think that's basically what's causing this general shift
The shift
to the
is
negative?
the landfill, because our pickup contract hasn't changed in 5 years. It's that cost in the landfill that continues to increase.
Is that a base charge?
They
Amount per
determine it
ton.
on an annual basis, and we pay it quarterly,
Do
and
they,
it's,
do they still nail you? I mean, you're having to sell bags, is that paying the
It's no longer doing that. It was, when we started at the $7.75 base rate plus the bags, it was taking care of it. We made 900 or whatever it was last year.
Okay.
Now it's not doing that because of that increase in the landfill fee. And so I really don't, I think you could raise either one, but at $1.50 and 50 cents for those bags, I think you're going to cause more problem.
Just raise your base rate.
And just a 50-cent or dollar change in the base rate. I mean, if we changed it $1, you've affected families by $12 a year. But
And they will see that once, otherwise they're gonna see it every time they go buy a bag.
yeah, and these bags, guys, are really unpopular.
Yeah.
It,
Yeah.
so raising the cost of them, I don't think it would not be my recommendation. But we can look at that more specifically in January.
Is there any other way around the DNR to get rid of the bags?
No. Now, we can change systems, we can go to tags, or we can, we can do something, we can choose a different system, but we've got 10,000 green bags and 4,000 yellow bags that, in inventory, and could go to a tag system. But can we get out of doing this? Not yet. I don't see it ever happening, but...
Is
May I
it,
ask a question?
is it just here basically that we are doing?
Sac County.
Sac County, it's not, no other counties, the DNR's not imposing it anywhere else?
I can't tell you what other counties may do. I know there are cities across the state that have systems like this, but which counties and where they're at and how, the mandates, I can't answer that question.
Just apply to commercial too?
No.
Pardon?
Is there any of this stuff that applies to the commercial?
The landfill applies to the commercial.
But they can toss anything they want.
Yeah,
Without a bag?
Dumpsters.
yeah.
That makes no sense.
You know, where we work,
And
we can throw away anything.
with the state agency mandating this, how is it not universal across the state in just specific areas?
Yeah, they picked on
That-
residential people because they could, basically.
Are there other communities within the county that use a tagging as opposed
Sac
to a
City
bagging
does.
system?
Yes,
Sac City does?
yes. And I don't remember what the council, I think the council's wisdom when they went with the bags over the tags was it was going to be easier to enforce with the bright yellow or bright green bag over than our garbage guys. See, most of the cities in the county employ their own workers to pick up that garbage. We hire somebody that we have to force into our system. And so we felt that it was a much easier transition and much easier for everybody involved with the bag system rather than the tag system. When you still have to sell them, you still have to supply them. Yeah.
So if he sees a brown bag or a black bag, he just leaves it?
He is
Yep.
instructed
Is
to
that what he-
leave it.
Okay. Is he doing that?
Yes,
He is doing that?
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
And usually I can tell because the sale of bags will drop fairly significantly, and so I'll ask Jerry, and Jerry will go, yeah, they got a new guy, and so I make another phone call, and then it ends again, and pretty soon there's a rush on bags again. But we do keep track of it, or try to as much as we can.
But in other cities, small cities, the city staff picks up the garbage and then delivers it to...
Not cities this size. Most cities this size do
Large
not employ,
cities.
they can't
The big
afford to own the
cities.
truck.
No, I
Sac City owns a truck.
When you said that,
Yeah.
just a clarification.
But Rockwell City, most of Lake City now is picked up by Carroll Refuse. A lot of cities are moving away because of the cost of the trucks and the hassle of the recycling equipment from doing this themselves. So anyway, we better move on.
Okay, next item on the agenda is to schedule a work session for all new council members. So is there a particular day that will work?
Do you want to explain to them what this is all about, or shall I?
This is for Nancy to take the floor and walk us through what is expected of us, through our ordinances, our conduct,
Our policies,
everything that we need to know in order for us to do our job here at this council seat. And that way it'll refresh all of our memories, including those that have been here a day or two. to go over and ask any questions as to why we're doing this and what is expected of us, why we were put on this council. Correct?
Correct. I am in the middle of preparing a binder for each council member that will include all of the previous policies. It'll include the code book, the ordinance book. And I'd like to talk you through, and some of you already know this, but some of you maybe, I've never done this before. And I feel that we've had some turmoil in the city, and I think we've had a lot of misunderstanding. And so with the new council in January, I'd love to get off on the right foot. I would like to explain to you some of the procedures that I go through, why I go through some of those procedures. I would like to outline for you the reports that you have in front of you and the things that are of greatest importance for you to look at. I don't want it to be a 3-hour meeting, but I think it is well worth our time to sit down and do this as a group, and it will, it won't at this point include Larry and John, but it will include Jane and whoever's elected to the council on December 20th. So, and I would like to get it done between December 20th and January 9th when we have our first meeting.
Is this in addition to the ones provided by the Iowa League of Municipalities?
Yes.
Okay.
This is, what I've prepared for council this time will be just Auburn specific.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So do you have that all prepared, or are you in process of preparing?
I'm in the process. I'm not quite finished with it.
So if we want something from those materials at this point, we should just ask you, right?
Yes, and I
Okay.
can supply that.
Okay, very good.
So, you're saying another January meeting?
Or I was maybe thinking if we could do it between Christmas and New Year's some evening. Maybe not on Monday night, but it's okay with me. And it would also be a good time for the new council members to, or the newly elected council members, if we do it that last week of December, we could also swear them in at that time and save having to get together on January 2nd to swear you in.
Does anyone have a preference in the last week of December?
During a lot of church activities or school activities, about Wednesday night, the 28th.
I can't be here on a Wednesday.
All right, Tuesday, the 27th.
What about Thursday on that week? I'll be sparse surgery, so
Okay, Thursday, the 29th.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Thursday, December 29th for a work session.
Yep, put that on your calendar.
6.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll try to, we'll try to spend an hour, maybe 2, not more than that. And, there's no reason that people, if you want to, anybody else wants to come in and sit on that, you're more than welcome to do that. But we have a lot of big challenges coming up in front of the council in the next year or two. And we've been through some pretty difficult times, and I'd really like to get everybody going at the beginning of this new year with the new council and get us all pulling together and going in the right direction, or in the same direction. It's not up to me what's the right direction, but get us going in the same direction. So thank you for allowing to schedule that meeting.
Okay, next item on the agenda is public forum. Thank you for everyone attending tonight. Does anyone have anything they want to bring up, discuss?
Linda, at this time, do I bring up the training sessions that you and I talked about,
No,
Nancy?
not yet.
Okay.
No, this is just public forum on an issue that we're discussing tonight. Okay, no one else? Forum is closed. Public Works.
I know the dumps get kind of full, but when we get some rain or snow or something like that, I'm trying to get it burned. I'm afraid to even do anything.
We still under the burn ban?
Yeah.
They said until we get 2 feet of snow.
Okay.
Apartment still in the
2
front?
feet of snow?
2 feet
I
of
guess I don't
snow,
know
we will
about
be
Sac,
under
they have to
burn
count
ban.
into it.
Carroll County's got that.
I called James.
We're still under the burn ban according to EMS.
Right,
Yep.
okay.
I
Yep.
thought we were.
Nothing else, Jerry? Okay, thank you. Nancy?
Municipal Leadership Academy. I have the brochures. Jane has expressed interest in attending. Is there anybody else that wants to attend? Cindy's been some, Janelle's been to some.
Second, I need the third.
You need third. Justin, are you at all interested in attending any of these?
When are they?
The first one is Thursday from 4 to 8, Thursday this week, from 4 to 8 in Spencer. Part 2 is January 12th, and that's an online session that I think you can pretty much do at your own time frame. They don't give time. And the third session to complete it is in April, and the date doesn't matter at this point because nobody knows what their schedule is in April.
They laid out their schedule. It was
January 12th is
spring.
Yeah,
meeting.
yeah. They don't know their schedule.
January 12th is league meeting.
But if it's online, if it's an online session,
Cindy did the online session the last time.
I couldn't get onto my computer, but they sent me a disc.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
You had trouble getting on, but it was it a specific time? I can't remember.
you
Yeah.
can do it at your own leisure.
Well, if you couldn't, they would send you a disc, and that's what
Okay.
happened. For
Okay.
some reason, something went wrong.
Send you a disc, right?
Right. Preoccupied then.
There you go. Yeah, just tell them.
These are great training sessions. This gives you the role of a city councilman or a mayor from the larger perspective, not from the day-to-day details of actually running Auburn. It would be from the larger perspective. And I'm just thrilled that Jane is willing to go
The first
because
session was really good. I
Yeah.
really liked it. Even the one in Denison was good.
From what
Yeah.
I read on part 2, it says, part 2 will be conducted on the internet. We encourage the mayor and the entire council to watch the session together on Thursday, January 12th. And of course, my printer caught up, but it says 8:30 p.m.
yeah, 6 to 8:30.
They-
Yep, that's when it is.
Maybe that can be our speaker.
Hey, we did that one years ago. Do you remember that? They had
everybody sit through that?
That'd be
They
cruel
did it
and
over the
unusual, but-
ICN network, and it was in the Saxony Library.
Yeah.
We did that.
We probably don't have to worry about getting host again.
Well, we didn't have great attendance. We didn't get anything to eat, so.
I think that flies in the face of the spirit of the event, doesn't it?
Yeah. I'll let you know tomorrow on
Okay.
whether I can.
Yeah, because I do need to get you registered if you're going on Thursday.
Okay.
So, since tomorrow's already Tuesday. They really pushed this after an election this first week right away. But I don't set these dates, so, okay.
But for the one in January, since we will all be in a meeting, is that something that you can just go ahead and get the disc?
I can look into that. Yeah.
I mean, since none of us will be able to do it.
If I'd get the disc and we'd all do it together some night,
Yeah.
I'll look into that and see if I can. Yeah.
I probably had mine from last year, too. Probably be about the same.
No, it'll change,
It changes
because there are
every
changes
year.
to the open meetings and open records law, so I know there'll be some changes in
Okay.
some point, so. The other thing I have is, everybody's aware that we lost our Jolene last week. And I did attend her funeral, and the council did send a plant to the funeral. But we need to fill her position for cleaning here. When she went in for surgery, we just asked Nancy Geyer to fill in until Jolene could come back. Well, then Nancy Geyer has an accident. And so at this point, Danita is filling in. She needed some extra hours. I guess this is not on the agenda, so there's no decision. I want to know if you guys want to do a hiring process, or if we'll put it on the agenda for December. I'm going to leave it with Danita at this point. If you want to do a complete hiring process, fine, or it's only an hour or two a week if you want to do what's necessary legally and let Danita just take care of it as long as she's willing.
I think if Danita's willing to continue doing it, why not let her have the extra hours?
Okay. I'll develop some things. The firemen did ask me at a meeting to put it on the council's radar to supply cleaning services at the fire station on a periodic basis. So we probably should at least develop a job description for this person no matter who we hire, and so I probably will work on a job description and then we'll approve it in December and bring it forward. Anybody have big objections to anything we just said? Okay, good. IEM wind meeting, I'm anticipating, and I've said this, I bet I've said this 4 or 5 meetings in a row, I'm anticipating to have to go to Ankeny for the next meeting. There was a proposed sale that fell through, and they're now negotiating with another bidder and trying to determine what direction that is all going to go. That's what I know about where that's at today. So I've been to a couple of good meetings. In that orange file are some of the notes from some of the meetings I've been to. If you have an opportunity to look at some of that, there was a lot of good stuff at the IAMU meeting that I went to. So if you have an opportunity to stay and look at all that. One of the things that came out of the conference I went to for the Iowa Municipal Clerks Association is the fact that we all sit around this table and get way too serious. We come in here and we're tense and we're and it affects this. The guy who was our speaker said when we do that it affects our creativity. And I don't know what his suggestion was, that you all come in and tell a joke or something, but I want you to think about, if you would, just some things that we can do together as a council that will allow us to take it seriously when we need to and not take it quite so seriously when we don't need to, and try to enjoy our work around the council table. And I'm not going to make you bring a joke next meeting, but you might think about something like that, just to, we're all friends and neighbors, and it's hard to see everybody in the tension there. I'm going to shut up now.
Nancy, can I ask you what the IWIN meeting is? You said something about an IWIN meeting that you attended.
IAMU, Iowa Association of Municipal Utilities, had a regional training class for a lot of different things. And then the other one was the Iowa Municipal Finance Officers Association.
Okay, Dustin was our attendee at the Solid Waste Board. We haven't gotten any emails regarding that, have we? Okay, Justin, the Sac County Emergency Board meeting.
Nothing.
Okay, 125th celebration.
We have a meeting tomorrow night, so I don't know the exact amount of how we did down there.
At the Fall Fest.
Do you know, Nancy?
No, but after I pay the bills tomorrow, I can probably put that together for your meeting.
Yeah, because we have it's at 5:30 tomorrow night.
Okay. Fire department was Josh. Justin, can you fill us in on anything?
Nothing really going on right now. Just the chief's feed and getting stuff scheduled for that. So.
Okay. Recreation committee.
Just making plans for Santa to come to Auburn.
Okay. Will he find me? Library board.
Nothing right now.
Okay. Historical committee.
That too, I don't know how they did. Do you, Nancy, know anything about the historical?
Same answer.
Yeah.
I haven't,
Okay.
yeah.
The sheriff's report is in the orange folder. And I was really disappointed that our American Legion did not have our flags up Veterans Day.
Oh,
That is
they
so
were sick.
depressing.
They had the flu.
And there's no one else that can fill in. There's got to be someone.
I don't
That
know.
was disappointing.
Oh,
Yeah,
just
Laura was in
frustrating.
this morning. They all had the flu. They were
And I know Toby's out of town,
Yeah, I
but
was just
there's,
gonna say, Larry's gone.
but there's gotta be somebody that can be on call for that, so we need to find somebody to step up to the
Next
plate on
time I
that.
visit with Laura, I'll visit with her about a backup, because her family always takes care of that.
I know. Does the council have any other comments that they would like to bring up?
I would,
Okay,
with regard to the recent election and the campaign. As many of you are aware, I was on the ballot and then asked to not be voted for. It's too late to have myself removed from the ballot. And I apologize if that was inconvenient or confusing to anybody. I tried to make that clear to as many people as I could. Somewhere in this process, there was a committee to elect Beidler, King, Van Ness, and I'm sure that most of you saw that flyer that was put inside the Tri-County Special. My concern there is that it came to my attention that our city employee may have been involved with, as a middleman, in fostering that particular committee. Well, that's what the Tri-County Special has said here. Nancy Jensen from the city of Auburn called and had asked for a price quote on some flyers. At that time, she stated she was the middleman for a customer and she was just getting information for that individual. And if they decided to run the flyers, she would let Kelly know to pick them up. And this is from a Nikki Peters, who's the office manager of the Tri-County Special. And is that anything that I think we need to invite you to have a chance to speak to that?
Yes, I was asked by a resident to do that, but I did not do it on city time with city resources.
Okay. The concern, and that was one of the reasons why I was being very specific earlier and asking about the federal grant, is that you're really under the Hatch Act then. The Hatch Act is a federal law that forbids city or federal employees from becoming involved with partisan politics. And you're really exempt for that unless there's like federal grants or anything like that. Since we have a federal grant, I think it covers you. It may cover you. We'll find out, I guess.
I don't think that really, we have that at the post office, and I don't think that involves city government, the small towns.
Cindy, it does. It's
I
my
have to
understanding
look in
if there's
mine.
a federal grant or federal monies involved.
Well, where would there be federal monies and federal grants
Well, we
involved?
just heard about it earlier. We have this grant from the Energy Commission.
The energy efficiency.
Energy efficiency. So we fall under the Hatch Act. So I don't know where that will all lead. I just wanted folks to know that I do apologize if I created some confusion and such in the election, but at the same time, I'm very disappointed with the behavior of all of us involved with that whole process, myself included. I don't think it was Auburn at its best, that's for certain.
okay, any other comments?
The only thing I have is earlier when we were talking about the energy efficiency stuff. I know several years ago we did an energy efficiency thing on all the buildings in town. At that time, it was unaware that this building was hooked up to a meter. I'd just like to see some numbers of what this building costs monthly to run.
Jerry?
We are tracking that now, Justin.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd just like to see that.
Okay.
And for future work purposes.
Yeah, it's averaging about $160 a month for this building.
Any other comments?
Have we had any improvement, or anybody using the basement very much?
Yes, yes. We've
Since
got 4 rentals for November and 2 already for December, so yes.
So it helped to renovate it.
I
Have you had
think
any
so.
other comments on it?
People love it. They think it's great. We still need to put some decorative stuff down there and make it look like it's not just one giant big old room, but yeah, rentals of, well, we've already rented it for this in the last 2 months for more than we rented it the whole last year, so.
And we'll need to hire a new park groundskeeper, because McCarty will be moving.
When they move.
When they move, okay.
Yeah.
But just heads up. If there's nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.